I used the Docker extension, and I did add compose files to workspace, and it tried to overwrite my main Docker compose. I reverted that change, but it also created this debug, which gives me some clues on what to do here. So it's calling shell install debug to temp error touch t. Who knows what that is? Wait for client, listen on backend manage.py run server. So this is where it connects a debugger. So I need to get this next to my actual compose and kind of dig through this. So shell pip install listen backend manage.py. In the Docker file. So I definitely don't need, oh god, can I put like an includes docker yml includes. Including external docker compose. Docker compose nesting. Inheritance or nesting. Per environment variables. Can inherit. Per environment files can inherit, add to, and replace from base. The per environment variables. So he's actually saying, okay, so this just needs to be a master. This needs to be a compose file with everything in it. Right? What is it doing for launch? Python Django Docker run. So this is the one that it created. I need to copy out. Ow. Headphone warning. Let's just move that so I don't accidentally do that again. Beautiful. Okay. So this is good. Launch.json I don't want to keep. So get rid of that. Tasks.json. Docker. Oh, so a task is that pre-launch task. So configurations. I just want to make a monster file here. Why is this a bad file? So launch configurations. Let's do tasks next. Launch tasks. And my task list is going to be this. Can I format? That worked. Do I have a linter for this? Does it lint itself? So I'm just going to copy this again. And let's get this dedicated onto one screen here. I duplicated tasks. Boop, 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 boop. Save. What's wrong with this one? Expected comma. So tasks is nested. Launch. Does that make any sense that tasks would be nested? I mean, that's what IntelliSense says, so let's run with it. So our task is to build. We don't build. We do not build. We don't tag. We manually build. Yeah, we don't build. Depends on Docker build. No, it does not. Docker run debug. Run server, no threading. Args. Let's do a CWD. Is there like a options? So for a task, the file is just going to be manage.py. It's not this backend thing. Manage.py run server. I think this is all reasonable. It doesn't depend on Docker build. Docker build can hang out commented. And then this goes away. This is kind of weird, it's defining that in two places. No, it's listen. It debugs, run server. Pip install. Command runs before entry point, potentially. Command versus entry point. I should probably learn this by now. Wow, that's arguments are fed. Okay, sure. Sure. Args run server. Let's just give her a run ski, see what happens. I don't need to build. Docker run. Where does the actual enter? What happens if I run this? Where does it fail? Python, Django. Docker, Python, Django. Launch, Docker run, debug mode. Remote root. Home tmdwu. What's the backend Docker file? Opt. Is going to be backend. Let's give her a run, see what happens. So it doesn't like that it has to pull. Docker run. Does this make sense? This is fine, right? It creates just purely a debug instance to run the code. This is really tough. If I want to be able to run a dev environment, like my backend looks like this. And like I have environment variables that I need to pass. So pre-launch docker run debug. My pre-launch task is run server. I think I'm overcomplicating by making this a Am I though? No, this makes sense. This needs to be Never thought about having these all right into the same directory. That would cause an issue. One for doing processing, one for doing loading. Only one would be running the crons, and the crons would be like a Kubernetes thing. So yeah, not a big deal. The services backend. God, distributed computing is hard. Okay, I got image, I got command, I have ports, but do I expose here? How does this work? Where's my... Do I define ports anywhere? Web server. Oh my god, it doesn't even... I think this is complicated. I think this is okay. There's no web server. This is weird. It's on the same network. So I guess my backend entry point is 80. So docker compose port. My host port, container port, host port, so host container, host container, so host will be 8,000, container will be 80, and then that port is on that port, and then I normally run with a dev, which is just the environment file. So maybe this isn't too bad. I should add the networks. Yeah, I definitely need the networks, otherwise this might not act normally. And it sure does depend on the database. So let's just actually not. So now if I run this, where am I at? Okay, where would I have that defined? Name, docker run name. Code. This debug container image backend. I've logged in. Unable to find image locally. Pull denied. Repository does not exist or may require Docker login. So, I mean, what's my Docker compose Docker config ls Docker repository does not exist. Okay, that actually makes sense because I'm using, let's use example. I need to set, I'm just going to hard code this. I don't need this. Yeah, no trailing. I'm just going to keep this as reference. And then I'm going to hard code it here. And my tag will be latest. Does that make sense? Yeah, let's just give it a yellow. Get rid of this. Volume, debug, entry point. Why is it trying to do a TMDWU? Is that because that's my... is it like trying to point to a... Okay, so this is the issue. I mean, let's just go with test, see what happens. So it's not TMDWU latest. Why? So VS Code Was I having like really bad video lag there? 10:33 off to check that on the stream later. VS Code Docker overwrite latest tag. Container tools build. I don't want Visual Studio. VS Code container debug. So I want to debug a specific container, so I don't need to do compose. I want to get a debugger attached. I could just set all those environment variables. I don't want to be exposing that to everything on my computer, though. Best practice. But it's a dev computer, so... Cache from... on debug. Is this it? I don't think this is it. This isn't saved. No, it's TMDWU latest again. So and export info export man v export env export cat example export. Sure. Let's just give it a runski, just with the old manage.py. Backend 1, dev up. Yeah, let's build as well if needed. Export CI registry image. Export tag. I wonder why that happens. I wonder why TMDWU latest is popping up here. Like, I have a finite number of references to it, and none of them make sense to me. And if it's doing the debug, I don't need to overwrite this stuff. No such container. I feel like it's all because of like if I add this, add compose files, manage, lessons on 80. Just trying to overwrite. This is trying to build. I finally got it. I don't think this. That's a pretty good. Yeah, sure. Let's throw this in our back end. Do I need to do anything in the home directory here? So I do need to build, and this needs a depends on. So we do have to build it, and Docker build Python. The Docker file is going to be backend.docker file. The context for the build is going to be backend. Let's give her a run. Docker build, custom options. Huh. That's much farther than I've ever gotten before. So I need to look up the VS Code task type. Let's just do another task real quick. Docker compose. That would be way easier. Right? Python. Custom tasks, compose up, type shell. I don't think I'm going to worry about this. I'm just going to see what happened here and try to debug. So secret key does not exist because my compose is not fully inclusive of what my dev has. Right? That doesn't make sense. It's already running and it's connecting to something that's existing, so I don't need to get into that. Settings.py. This does not have environment variables. It does not have environment variables because where it's running here. I could replace all my os.environment calls with a custom library that looks for an env file, or I could run a Python script file manage.py arguments. Do I have a debug entry point? I think I add like a debug entry point here. Docker run depends on. My Python is Python manage.py run server. The default order here is not what I would do. Python manage.py run server. Add. It all depends on environment variables. Can I attach to running debug running container? Can I like exec instead of go Docker run Is this like some Docker and Docker and Docker? Am I going too deep here? I don't think I am. Host container. Environment file. It's going to be example environment. Let's try to run this. Let's call this. Wait, this is a task. I'm overthinking it because I can add Python manage.py Docker run and I don't want to do tdwu. I want to do backend and backend. Let's try it. That was a lot more than I've gotten before. So something was right about that. I don't want to run server. Docker run debug. Pre-launch. So I want to go to debug, and this ain't cutting the mustard. What's the order here? This is doing a lot. So that generally failed. So we're building. We build, we're cached. We're going to then run an environment file. And we're going to run server. Ah, so now I actually can get rid of the Python part. Because this is my command. And my command is going to be pulled from gitlab. And it's going to be a bulk load. And what happened was it tried to, but failed. Program, module, or code must be specified. So let's just copy this then and then undo back to here. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to replace one more time. CSV file does not exist. We're getting there. This does need to be a Docker compose. This is a lot of drift or duplication. Either way, this 5 Docker compose files is like 3 too many, 2 too many. CSV file does not exist. So this is working. Man, rabbit holes upon rabbit holes. Why would metadata channels not exist? Because I'm binding. That's it. So my workspace, I have on my build task, I don't have my bind. I need to put this in a, yeah, so this is good. This is a good find. I need to put my bind metadata. Anything I would check in here, I need this to be in my backend bracket test. This needs to be in code somewhere. So backend, can make this bigger. I want like a grid view, but zoomed. Yeah, I don't know why that's 50% zoom. I think I need a management migration static. I need a test metadata, and I need to put this in it, and my gitlab can now, God, that's a lot of Docker Compose files. Oh, geez. So I could probably just drop this file entirely. Now, but I need it because this has my AWS user in it. And I can't check that in. Actually, can I? Yeah, it's like build. Or no, it's not build. What did I care about the AWS for? API. Why do I need AWS secret keys? Because S3 connections, that's why. Okay, so this is checked in now. And what I can do is what are these user IDs? Should be like URLs. Whatever. It's a separate test. So my bulk load channels should have like a test flag or something, or a this is a tough one. I just if option CSV, yeah, that's fine. So I can, it's not going to be metadata. It's going to be like Docker home, but so I don't need to put anything there. I just need to put backend bracket test metadata channels. Backend. Not even backend. Bracket test metadata. So let's give that another go. It's working. Oh, this is it. So that was it. I worked around all those fucking issues. GitLab CI needs to change as well since I moved that file. And it's going to be again from the directory that I'm working with. It's not a horrendous URI. Okay, so now I can actually start debugging. I'm just stacking complexity here. This really could just be a Docker Compose file that I just push and test manually. All this CI, it's great, but like if I just wanted to build a website, I would not be doing this. I don't want to just be building a website. I'd like to have a super fucking rock solid base with testing and no regressions and good uptime. And this is all foundational to that. But if you just want to have a website for a bit, this is probably overkill. I think the biggest thing is like if I were just to have a repository that I built and test myself, how would I like handle the database stuff? It could all just be going to SQLite on a back end, and I have basic testing. But then I can't do that because I'm doing search, so I have to have, and like I'm not really testing DD client. I'm building it. That matters. The more the better, right? Like if you can build the machine that builds your environments, you can have a lot of environments. Whereas if you just build your environments, they're pets, and pets die. Pets they fall or they get hurt, you know? Whereas if you have a industrial machine, there's complexity to it, but you can like build a dam or pollute the planet, you know? You can't do that if you just have a pet. So this is, if I want this to be like a foundational thing I can work on and build going forward, my experience now is I go into code, I hit F5 for running tests or whatever it is I'm doing. I can have a bunch of these that I build. Might take some time to figure it out, but I don't anticipate issues. I have toy examples outside of containers. I don't think I put anything outside of containers. I think I put in automated testing and I have it in Visual Studio Code where I can run it. Because this is all checked in. Visual Studio Code, how I run this stuff is checked in. And if I'm running it within a container and I have the correct build steps in there, I can't just F5 it if I don't have stuff up and running beforehand. So I would need another task that's going to be build, run, options, run options. What's the difference there? I don't want to reuse environments. Up. And I'm doing this. Debug is going to have local. My environment is example, but I actually want this to be local. Docker run. So my first task is to build. I'm gonna make this a Docker compose. I want this to be a yeah, so I'm just going to call this Docker build. I'm going to comment out the previous build here. And this is going to be a fucking massive command. I'm not going to put any args. I don't think I'm going to arg it. I'm going to get the gitlab build command here. This is going to be a monster. It's a one-liner, all right. I wouldn't say it's a model one, though. Yep. That is real gross. Let's ship it. I'm not super happy with this, but I'm just trying to get stuff that works so that when it eventually gets rewritten, if it ever gets rewritten, we can always look back and say, wow, Ryan, that's some god-awful messy code. I don't need this task. You know, sometimes you gotta do bad to know what's good code, you know? Right? Abort. So, terminal process, bash C, all this stuff. So this works, but what doesn't? Valid argument Postgres for T flag. Okay, so what are we doing? Executing task. This is actually running. And we're going to do Docker compose environment file. Actually, this isn't. Yeah, it does matter. Tag, and I'm going to do this is something that I would want. It's like my ENV user. Yeah, so tag equals user CI registry image equals this. and give her an F5. Progress. So now my debug so it's building everything, that's good, and my running is the I don't think I just want another shell here. Label. Call this Docker run. That's what we're running right now, right? Type shell. And yeah, it's gonna look similar, but I build it. Depends on database. I need to bring this up and enter it in the same. So the task yeah, I just will leave those errors. Missing property request. So it runs type Docker. Launch, pre-launch task, path mappings. So pre-launch task, Docker run, debug. So build it, that's the important thing here. And this is actually, there's a regression here. There's a big regression here. I just need to undo. I need to save this as on my desktop here. I need to just name this workspace, backup, delete me. So this ran and actually I should be able to see exactly what ran because I left this up. No. I got this Docker Compose stuff. This one worked, right? Is anything actually running compose debug? Nothing's running that debug, is it? I regressed somewhere. I'm actually going to look at my own stream here to see what I did. This is why I stream, right? Permanent record of what I did. Inception. Okay, so if I maximize, you don't see me twice. Just gotta look for my CSV file. It was after CSV file that got stuff working. Page info. Okay, so this is working here. Label depends on Docker build python manage.py, and I guess it started working somewhere because I found latest, right? Image backend latest Docker run label. That label was confusing me, I think. And then if I you can get this database error. Environment files. Yeah, so my task label is the issue here because I'm just running this and I'm not running my whole compose. I'm going to close my stream here. Actually, no, I need to keep that up just in case I want to go back to it when I'm slept. So I want my label to be docker run debug docker compose exec file. So this is a full task. It's going to depend on the build. Missing the property up. Docker PS. It's all up. Example DB host. I think I need to overwrite this. That's ugly as hell. So this task can get commented out. It's just exploratory, kind of Copilot IntelliSense helping me out. I need to make this have a this environment files needs to then be env db host is going to be tmd wu db1. It's just super messy, but this is not the better way. This amount of setup is really ugly. No address associated with hostname. I'm not on the network, right? Remember this task.json? Let's just do a let's do a check-in just to make sure that I haven't broken anything too crazy yet. Yeah, we'll just call this VS Code container debugging squared. And then we will, I checked in task.json. Add compose files to workspace. So let's just overwrite stuff because we can. What's our version control say? So we definitely want to roll this back. We definitely want to roll this back. This Docker file gets rolled back. It's just the launch.json that gets changed. That's it? This could be at the very end here. This is a full compose. So I have to go through the Docker file thing first. This is it. This is all it's doing. So it does launch and it also does tasks. So Docker run debug, Docker run debug, Docker build. Nowhere does this actually say compose. I need to close and reopen this. So I'm like in real uncharted territories here. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person on the planet doing this. Not entirely, but it's a little close. I am definitely on a path less tread. I don't know what the word is. I also want to delete this folder. I wonder what the build status of this is in GitLab. Hopefully it fails on page info again. Use multiple compose files, so Docker compose file is a list. So I do want up to run. I do want these to be up. So Docker compose up. Depends on Docker build, and this one is going to depend on Docker compose up, and I'm just going to bulk load the channels. My DB host, I can't get this figured out, but I will. Network, backend. What's my Docker network PS ls tmd wu backend? So maybe this will run. Where's my Docker Compose up? I just shove this inside of the... Oh, this is good. Docker build. Let's go for it. And let's see how this is doing. Cool, so still failing the same spot. Manifest unknown. Backend vocal. So I actually want my tag to be latest. I can do this with example. No, I need this to be vocal. So it has to build, it goes up. Debug anyway. So it's my Docker Compose up. Docker Compose. Okay, yeah, this is the issue. These found orphans. Backend vocal. Face cam real quick while I look at passwords. Tag. Yeah, tag is gonna be latest. Is this actually the issue? The manifest not found. Yeah, so I regressed there with that, so I'm just gonna switch back to latest. This isn't great to do. Yeah, actually I can... I'm gonna stick with local on... I'm gonna switch... shit, my example can't be local here. It has to be something else. But... no, it can be local. Because the tag gets overwritten in GitLab, right? I don't see the example anywhere, so let's go for it. Tag equals user. Tag equals local. Let's give this a shot. Docker compose environment file up. Dev. Yeah, I don't want to give the environment to... Oh. Oh. This just worked. Everything just worked. I didn't get an error. What? I get an error here because I don't have a valid API key. I'm doing something that requires key. Oh my god. Wow. That is it's a lot of... I mean, I got somewhere tonight. All this setup is huge. This gives me a template to work off of to run any arbitrary command and debug within Docker, all checked in within source control. All I need to do is open up Visual Studio Code. Do I need extensions? I need Docker installed, I need Visual Studio Code installed. AWS would be nice. AWS credentials are their own. AWS is kind of the only weird hanger on to this project. Remote containers. Or just Docker. Yeah, I think it's really just Docker and Python that I need. I'm not doing remote development here or anything crazy. God, if I was, that would just be SSHing and then within a container, if I just merge technologies in all the maximum complexity ways. So it's working. That's really cool. I need to check this in because now I can say debugging working with Visual VS Code in containers. I got the tag, I got all this. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so, and I can also just check on the pipeline here what the runs have been. 444, 5. Okay, so my next move should be to probably make a throwaway API key and check it into CI. Yeah, I need to, because it's not like super duper secure, but I need a bracket to do. Testing. I need a YouTube API key generated for GitLab testing. This should be an environment variable, a throwaway. Should be an environment variable. masked in GitLab. Probably off of a Cobra service account, and needs to be added to gitlab docker compose gitlab.yaml after in file element. Okay. This all seems reasonable. Huh. This is not picking up my change. Oh, there we go. Cool. So my GitLab, let's see my freaking compose files I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jeez. I have a build, a push, a base, and then I have a few environments. I have like a dev validation. I have GitLab. GitLab, so the thing here is going to be it's going to be this YouTube API key. I actually think I could just do this off stream and it'll work, because I'm just down to I'm back to where I was. Is that where I started all this? Is that my builds are not passing because I don't have an API key to actually test scraping YouTube with. It took me, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours tonight to like kind of realize that, which is, holy crap, a lot of time to be spending doing this and literally not move forward in the direction that I started off wanting to. But I learned a whole lot, so that's great. Yeah, this is it. So there's no way to really keep this API key secret, I don't think, unless I also got to update the code to keep this suppressed. Let's just do that now. Fetching API URL replace the API key equals this API key, and then I'm going to minus the length of API key plus yeah, string multiplication is the correct way to do this. Thanks, Copilot. So now if now that I think about my API keys, they're to be exposed because something ran here successfully. Error exists after learning pre-launch task. Environment. Property environment is not allowed. Environment. And man, what's even running right now with the VS Code. I'm running with GitLab here. I don't need to build with GitLab. I can build with like dev. Ultimately, doesn't matter, does it? This key is actually just right there. What I want to do is let's make this dev. It shouldn't matter, but actually I could have example in the base. Why don't I put example in the base and then I don't need a GitLab one? Or I don't need a dev one. Yeah. That seems smart. Yeah, let's keep this GitLab. And then copy this into the base. And it'll just get overridden. So the database, the web server, and the backend gets environment file. It'd actually be better if these were I don't think I can do that actually. I would like to, but this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make things better in any way. I might just not need dev because I can overwrite my environment files. Let's try it. Let's see if I can overwrite like 3 times in a row. Docker compose file. env file. Yeah, env file. So env file is going to be example env. It's going to be cd team gitlab tmd. And I don't want to build, I want to exec. I don't need the build here because I'm not building. Docker compose exec because it's up with these. Docker compose exec backend. So backend is just using whatever. It's actually referring to a specific container. So if I can run this exec, secret key. So there's no secret key when I overwrite with an example. This is a strange one. Docker compose exec t. Docker compose there we go, status. Docker ps. I have one backend up. Exec backend. Why is this not working? Docker compose dev no build. So an example, I added the CI registry. So env file example. Yeah, so what does this do? I'm making this overcomplicated too. I can just exec echo tag docker compose env file example. Echo hi. F docker compose f dev. What does my local have? Local has tag in there. so that worked. I just need an environment file now for local. I need to go to bed. It's midnight 05. I learned a lot, but my God, did I also get nowhere. So what the fuck does environment fileable do? Docker compose env file. So I have environment file, and then I have compose, and then I have like gitlab or dev, which then overwrites it, and then like overwrites it again. Wow. Layers. It's like an ogre. If I F5, it runs. So I guess actually I did achieve something. I got it to run locally. It works on my machine now. And this doesn't cost me anything to rerun. It's way faster than committing to the cloud. So this is working. Those are things I actually want to end up testing at some point. And I should go to bed. Why is this not masking? It's because it didn't rebuild correctly. Oh, wow. I thought I had it, but I actually don't have it just right. It's recreating the back end after building. So on something like Postgres, DD client, backend, it cached the copy. Why would it do that? My example is local, not latest. I mean, I should be building build with GitLab. I want to build with dev. Yeah. So that should be the difference. There should be a okay. Still, Fetching. Bulk load channels. Can I trash this? Debug console. Clear console. And this is outputting correct. So yeah, this is all working. That's not. Fetching from YouTube API. This is the only place where that reads, and it's saved. What? Let's do a build cache, no cache. Build kit copy all. Why would that not be... Why would it be correctly handled in one area but not the other? That blows me away. Fetching channel. So this isn't updating either. Environment file. That's it. Is that right even? Am I just lying to myself? Docker compose the invite file. Why? Did I not have a successful run not that long ago? Secret key is none. Because I don't have my Fs. Is it why does it work in because my Docker Compose up has GitLab? That can't be it. My Docker Compose execs don't have like GitLab in there. Docker Compose f docker .y docker git docker dev. .yml. I am past my bedtime. Later, peeps.